Woj, tell us how this trade came together.
Well, once the Paul George trade happened with the Clippers, it started in motion the idea that Oklahoma City would trade Russell Westbrook. And he and James Harden talked right in the aftermath of the Paul George deal and started to discuss the idea of reuniting together. And Russell Westbrook and his agent, Thad Fouché, were in constant conversation with Sam Presti in Oklahoma City, let him know that the Rockets were at the very top of his wish list, and Oklahoma City wanted to move quickly. They didn't want this to linger through the summer, and they started to get engaged with both the Rockets and the Miami Heat here in recent days, and yesterday really had their best offers from both teams and did the deal with the Rockets, got a tremendous return on it, 2 first-round picks, 2 future pick swaps, and Russell Westbrook, James Harden got what they wanted. And the Thunder, between 2020 and 2026, they have the potential of having 15 first-round picks. They've added 8 first-round picks in Oklahoma City since draft night.
Yeah, Woj, the Thunder are playing the long game in this current NBA where we don't see that as much. But what are you hearing about why Harden and Westbrook both wanted to team up again? You mentioned they wanted this.
Well, there's no question that in Houston, I think for the Rockets, part of the thinking was they were trading out ages, right? Chris Paul at 34 years old for Russell Westbrook at 30. And the Rockets believe that this gives them an opportunity to extend that championship window around James Harden. But Harden played a major role in this trade happening. He wanted to be with Russell Westbrook, and he certainly let ownership, management know that, and they got this deal done.
All right, hang tight, Woj. We'll get to Chris Paul's future in a few minutes. Much more from you to come as we carry on here this morning talking about this. And Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta told Fox 26 in Houston, "I hate to lose Chris Paul, but we felt like we did what we had to become a better team." Jalen doesn't buy it. "I think it'll be very interesting and fun. James, of course, Harden, and Russell wanted to play together. It ought to be fun this year." Yeah, it ought to be. We're ready to go with that. Jalen holding back no punches this morning.
They're not going to retire his number like Golden State?
No, not going to be able to do it.
We'll see about that. But your biggest takeaway overall from this trade, Jalen?
The end of super teams in the NBA in the era of dynamic duos is officially blossoming right in front of us. It started in the new era with Danny Ainge in the Boston Celtics when he put together his big 3 to go with Paul Pierce, added KG and Ray Allen. And then all of a sudden the Miami Heat with Pat Riley created the Heatles to go with Dwayne Wade. You have LeBron James, you have Chris Bosh. And then you go out of control with it with the Hamptons 5, a team that already won 73 games in a championship with a unanimous MVP in Steph Curry, happens to add a guy like Kevin Durant. Now we get to the LeBron era, as I'm calling it, where multiple players are willing to play for multiple teams. Usually great players wanted to stay in one spot, like Duncan, like Kobe. And Dirk, if you win it in one team, that's great. You're loved forever. Short-term deals for MVP-level candidates. LeBron, short-term deal in Cleveland. KD, short-term deal with the Golden State Warriors. And lastly, willing to leave a team without a sign and trade. Remember when we used to talk about the fact that kind of LeBron left Cleveland and they didn't get anything in return? Or Kawhi left Toronto and they didn't get anything in return? That could kind of cripple your franchise. So I like that we now actually have parity in the NBA where we're going into this season. You can have a remote control in your hand and you can see multiple great teams throughout the league, and none of us have a distinct favorite to who's going to win it all next season.
All that makes sense. Part of the thing is, though, these guys are also cashing in on money because by signing those shorter contracts, what's happening? Salary cap is going up, right? And their next contract is always for more money. So, I mean, they're making more money and they're bundling. I call it bundling because these dudes are like cable companies, all right? What they're doing is just saying, you know what, Jalen Rose, he and I, we get along. I'm going to hook up with him. And that's basically what's happened. What we've seen is dynamic duos. We've seen what happened with Paul George. Kawhi Leonard's basically said, I want to play with Paul George. And then James Harden said, you know what? If he's playing with Paul George, I want to play with Russell Westbrook. And that's just created these twosomes, but also they're all getting rich off it.
Yeah, well, later on in the show, we actually are going to run through Jalen's top 5 twosomes going into next season and even beyond that as well, because, of course, some of these guys are injured.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.